Some days I get tired of fighting, and I know you do too. When will women be allowed to shape their own development without outside influence? At home, at work, in society, we're forced to fight twice as hard just to prove our worth for anything. So here's the question. If women could choose freely, would they work, care for family, or do both? When asked globally, an overwhelming 70% of women said they prefer paid jobs. This holds true across every level of society. However, the but always remains, what happens to traditional gender roles? So, can women really have it all? My name is Fatu Eli Kamloshi. This is the show. Coming up on the show, in Côte d'Ivoire, we meet a bold scientist sustaining the agricultural value chain through laboratory-based solutions. In our street debate, women in the north of Nigeria argue the complexity of womanhood in a society with far too many barriers. And young girls in Cameroon refuse to be boxed in their pursuit of a career in technology. Can we even leapfrog into a future driven by innovation and digital growth when women currently occupy only 22% of tech positions across the continent? For a more equitable society, we need to reach at least 40 to 50% women participation in tech. So, what has the lab got to do with yam, a key staple crop in West Africa? Its tubers may be stored for several months on farm, but up to 15% of reserves rot away during this time. One young woman wants to stop this. In Ivory Coast, scientist Adjata has decided to save the yam despite growing up with no relatable role models. Now, she has a solution for a staple that sustains women in her community.
I'm Kamara Adjata. I'm 27 years old and a PhD student in climate change, biodiversity and sustainable agriculture. I study plant diseases and how to treat them. I've always been interested in agriculture because my father had a farm. So right from childhood, I was with him in the fields. And the more you do something, the more you love it. I thought, why not study yams? Because at home, we were always getting yams, and we noticed that their shelf life had dropped sharply over time. When people see there's rot, they just cut off the parts that's rotten. It's actually because they're trying to save the rest of the tuber so they can sell it or eat it. I identified 5 groups of fungi that cause rot here in Côte d'Ivoire. The steps involved in that took me 3 years. But at the same time I was identifying the fungi, I was already looking for methods to get them under control. I received the 2022 L'Oréal UNESCO Award for Women in Science for Young Talent. On that day of the ceremony, I was so stressed and everyone around me knew it, because it was here in Côte d'Ivoire. But at the end, I was happy. The biopesticide that I developed is simply made of essential oils, plant extracts, and water. That's all. The women who sell yams were at first surprised to see that something like this existed. Then they were dubious as to whether it would work. They were worried I'd just get their yams wet, but have no results and actually cause more losses. So they were happy to see that it did work and to know they have an alternative that will allow their yams to last even longer in their stock. I was happy to contribute something new. I didn't expect to be in the media so much. When I was in high school, my role model was Marie Curie. She was white. Because I had no information, I didn't know that African women also did science. It wasn't until I got to university and my science lecturers were women. I help young female researchers in the laboratory with their manipulations. I try to coach them a little. Their main concern is that they're African. Because they think, if I apply for a scholarship, will they accept me? Because for a woman at master's level, you're expected to be thinking about marriage, family, finding a little job. So what's the point of going for a doctorate? So I tell them, if I've been accepted for a doctorate and a scholarship, you can be too, because we've had almost the same career path. If I had to give advice to a younger me, it would be go for it, reach for the top.
A clear definition of when you educate a woman, you educate an entire nation. Very nurturing and considerate, like they say. But we like to hear your thoughts on special topics. So we put out a poll on our social media pages where we asked the question, should more women be encouraged to take up jobs that are usually male-dominated? 50% of you said yes to breaking barriers. 33% believe women should decide that for themselves, while 17% of you still think women shouldn't be encouraged to take up male-dominated jobs. We've heard you. Now let's slide into our heated street debate in Nigeria to hear it from the horse's mouth. Women there express their frustration of not only battling the obvious hurdles in economic growth, but also the hidden hustle of navigating biases, a limited mindset, and big expectations. So our host, Edith Kimani, begins by asking her panel, what's truly holding women back?
Hello and welcome to this special edition of the 77% Street Debate. This is a collaboration between DW and Trust TV, and we're coming to you from Garki International Market here in the heart of Abuja, Nigeria's capital. The big question is hustling for women in Nigeria. What is holding us back? And of course, I'll be co-piloting the conversation with the magnificent Edith Kimani.
Thank you so much, Abdullahi. It's estimates stating that nearly 40% of businesses here in Nigeria are owned by women, particularly small, medium and micro businesses. But what about big business? Are women participating there? Who better to ask than some women? And I'm so glad to have a panel that is full of women today. And I want to start with you, Zainab. Perhaps you can explain to us what the situation in Nigeria is. Would you say that women are dominant in the business market?
Women are really trying in the business market, and I think we are trying to be more than the men now, and I hope we'll be better.
So the question that we've asked at the top of this debate is, are women being held back? Would you say that's an accurate assumption?
Yes, from religion aspect, from cultural diversity, from funding.
All right. So we'll come to those reasons in just a short while, but I want to speak to Adjata for a second here. As an IT specialist, you are in an industry that is growing leaps and bounds. Are you seeing women participation in that, particularly in the north, as Zainab mentioned?
Actually, I would say no. It's growing, but really not. I think it's not favorable. I think it's not what we want.
So give me an example of like an average day for you at the office. What's the percentage of women in your industry in the north?
Maybe 40%.
Yeah, the numbers don't look so good. Yeah. So let's ask the economist in the building here, Dr. Jalindo, how would you categorize the participation of women in the market in the whole of Nigeria, but particularly in the north?
They take up almost 30 to 40% of the total business environment in Nigeria, depending on the statistics you find. So I think that's the lion's share.
So you think they're doing really well?
Yes, they are doing well. I don't really see the business environment being friendly for both genders. The problems are not gender specific. Yes, women have some cultural issues in terms of northern Nigeria or some religious barriers that prevents them from excelling.
All right, let me ask Umita, who's the entrepreneur on the panel. So we're hearing that the business environment is terrible for everyone and it's not particularly gendered. Would you agree with this?
Yes, I agree. I think it's the economy in Nigeria. This year it's just a bit slow for everyone.
And so why do you think that women are not able to break the barrier from the small, medium and micro businesses into being the owners of industry?
Because men have already monopolized the whole system. They try to gatekeep so that it's hard for the women to penetrate.
All right. Oh, well, what is your personal view on this? Do you think that women should be out there in the business market trying to fend for themselves, making an earning?
Women should stay at home and cater for their own children. Yes.
Let me ask Fatima here, because you laughed when he said that he believes women should be at home. So you find this hilarious, and yet it's a reality.
Actually, it's what is happening. Let me say we women, we don't have freedom, especially from the north, because One, they said when you go out there, you are not safe. They can't let their wife to go out there because it's unsafe for them. They feel insecure with their wife being exposed to other men.
Okay, so let me ask Awal, are you insecure about women becoming experts in their own field?
No, I'm not. But their protection is primary.
Okay, Let me speak to Ahmed, who's a strategist, and you work with women, you mentor them. So in some ways, you are the antithesis of what Awal here is saying. What do you feel about that? Because you're also a northern man.
First of all, when we are talking about women in business, for example, looking at what I do here personally, is that we create a platform which a lot of businesses actually showcase their brand. But surprisingly, 85% of the participants are women. And then these women are killing it out there.
I want to ask Zainab here for a second, because you're pretty successful in your business. Do you feel like you have to down yourself so that you don't become too successful for the men in your life?
As a woman, you can't be too successful. I think a man will be threatened, especially if he's your spouse.
So is this a strategy that you're actively employing in your life?
Yes, I am. You have to dim your light to shine brighter.
Okay, Umita, do you have to shine bright like a diamond, or do you dim yourself a little bit so that your spouse, your partner, your father shines brighter than you?
So honestly, I don't have to, because even if, for example, I tell my husband that I have a project, say in the South, honestly, being the rebel that I am, I would want to go. So in a way, I don't dim my light, but I bring him on so that he thinks it's his idea to let me go.
So, Doctor, we're hearing different strategies being employed by women just so that they can participate in the open market. But what is the business case for that? What happens when women are not allowed to fully participate to their full potential? What is Nigeria losing?
Nigeria is losing a lot. So not allowing them to fully participate is an economic downturn for the country. It has the capacity to improve global GDP by $12 trillion.
Wow.
So that is $12 trillion of untapped potential.
Okay, now I understand that Abdullahi is waiting in the wings to come and sneak in. But before he does, Zainab, you mentioned financing gaps, which Dr. Jalindo here has mentioned. How tough is it to get formal credit as a woman?
I think it's very tough. We have that gap and we need to close it.
But I'm wondering, Dr. Jalindo, when the government is working so hard to create equality, is there more that can be done?
Policy support for women entrepreneurs, access to financing in terms of legal protection for women businesses, and in terms of general business environment that will cater for the needs of the woman.
Okay, so Abdullahi, we're hearing a lot of things, but I do wonder, because there are women who also want to be taken care of. I wonder what the people you're speaking to think about that.
Yeah, interesting. I think a lot of people were scratching their heads with regards to the choice of words. Allow and support. Some people think, you know, there's no conversation about allowing women. It's more or less like supporting women to get the job done. But we're in the solution phase here, right? So I would like to get your takes on what you think can make life easier for women in business in Nigeria.
Women should just be allowed to do what they want to do without restriction.
What could make things easier for you?
Everybody around you should give you support. And then who doesn't like to be taken care of?
Right. What about the government? What about the society? What can they do to make you feel, you know, supported?
I feel the society especially needs to start accepting that women are also capable of doing things that men are capable of doing. Men should also be okay with women dominating in the male-dominated fields, like mine, carpentry.
Well, if you ask Awal, he'll say that there's absolutely no problem at the moment with the way things are. But I just want to ask you, Dr. Jalindo, is there anything that can be done to flatten this line?
What we need to do is to provide equal opportunities for both men and women, making sure that you target specific group of vulnerable women and have financing ready for them. Secondly, having programs that will improve literacy education is also key. Most importantly is mentorship.
I love that. And Saada is actually already doing that, participating in the fourth industrial revolution in IT, mentoring women. What other solutions do you have for us?
That the women be role models, because in a society where the men, they have these trust issues and whatnot. So I believe that whatever you're going to do as a person that starts, you should do it well, so that other men also will see and realize, okay, this is good for my wife, for my sister. And then secondly, technology also, because there are a lot of solutions. I believe that only women that are into technology that can be able to actually, tackle that particular part.
Yeah, I like that. I started this debate with Zainab, but I'd like to close with you. What should women do to stay empowered, to become empowered?
I think mentoring, And that's why I started my podcast, Rise with Zeros, where I bring a lot of established entrepreneurs to see their stories, their challenges, so that the ones coming up will learn from them and will grow.
Well, I dare not get any other comments after that beautiful closer. Abdullahi, where are you? Let's close this debate. What are your final thoughts?
Interesting takes, obviously, but I also think that at the heart of the problem is the fact that the scale of the problem is simply greater than the scale of the solution. But times are changing. Whatever you think about northern women or women generally speaking, if we unlock that potential, the economy is going to look much different.
Greatly put. We asked a very simple question at the beginning of this debate. What's holding women back? A lot of these women said men, but there are other multi-layered issues, but they also have the solutions of how we can go around this. Thank you so much for being a part of this debate and watching us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I would also agree that mentors are very crucial in proving what's possible, which makes me wonder, who said programming isn't for women? From the very start of computing, women were at the forefront, coding, calculating, and breaking boundaries. This was evident in the role they played in ballistic computing during World War II. Yet, as technology advanced, history conveniently downplayed their contributions. Take Dorothy Vaughan, for example. Born in 1910, she became a trailblazing African-American mathematician and NASA's very first black supervisor in 1949. Vaughan not only mastered the math, but also foresaw the future while leading the segregated West Area Computing Unit. Her brilliance shaped the backbone of America's space program, a story brought to life in the award-winning film Hidden Figures. So, the question isn't whether women belong in programming. It's why the world ever tried to erase them from its history. This makes it increasingly difficult to prove that women can excel in the field. In Cameroon, 23-year-old Njinda Salomé is equally forcing her way through a programming course in a conservative society.
Ever since 23-year-old Njinda Salomé decided to force her way into the tech industry, she walks into this office every morning for an internship in full-stack web development.
Morning.
Salomé didn't start out as a coder. When she joined the University of Boya 4 years ago, she was studying banking and finance. But with few job prospects, she switched paths. Today, she recalls her past professional dilemma.
I was seeing nothing ahead. My internship I did with banking and finance. Before going on the internship, no bank allowed us in.
Rejected but not discouraged, Salomé decided to invest her savings into a programming course.
At that time, I had just 150K, and the fee was 350.
Despite limited funding, Salomé managed to complete her course. She drew inspiration from other female figures who had also been in her situation before.
Where I was going to learn, which is Data Girl Technologies, I already conducted some background interview about the CEO of that place. And I realized that she too did accounting. So I decided now to do it because I had some figure in front of me that has left from my same path and has been able to strive.
Women make up just 18% of Cameroon's tech workforce. Kindness, who has worked with Salomé for 6 months, links this imbalance to fear of failure.
They will always feel like, oh, programming, I may not be able to learn the language. Even if I want to learn the language, which language will I learn?
Salomé's ambition was not the barrier, but her family's opposition was.
We decided not to sponsor. She was doing everything on her own. The auntie too usually support me in paying her fees said she doesn't want to respect us. Let her go ahead and do what she wants.
After 2 years of determination and self-reliance, Salomé has won her parents' support.
I finally come to a conclusion that I would have been very disappointed if she too has followed our instruction and refused to follow her dream.
In Cameroon, only 3% of women in IT hold executive positions. Startups like Data Girl Technologies are helping women break into the male-dominated industry through web development boot camps. Frida Iposi co-founded the education startup in 2019.
UI/UX is the core of design.
She has been training the next generation of women tech workers ever since.
We initially started with just, encouraging young women to learn how to build basic websites. Realizing that there's a huge gap in the ecosystem, women don't feel interested. We decided to come up with the tag that says we are fostering the next generation of young or female tech talents across Africa.
The center has trained more than 3,000 girls, including Salomé, who enrolled in 2022. She often stops by to give back.
This place is like family to me, and as a form of appreciation, I come here from time to time to spend some time with them and also to motivate the girls that have taken a bold step like me.
Tech jobs can be hard for women to find, but Salomé is confident she can achieve her dreams in a male-dominated field.
Too many hurdles, to say the least. However, dare to dream and just do it. But in the beginning, we asked, can women have it all? A biological fact we can't ignore is that women are givers of life. It is super okay for a woman to want to do that too and just embrace the things that make them feel whole. They don't only give birth to one child at a time. Sometimes the result could be a double blessing or maybe even more. What else can a superpower be? Let's go to Igbo Ora, the Nigerian town better known as Twin City, and enjoy the gift of life with our reporter, Samson Adeleke.
Did you know that Nigeria has the largest number of twins in the world?
Happy World Twins Festival!
Welcome to Igbo Ora, where every home seems to have a set of twins. In Yoruba culture, twins are called Taiwo and Kehinde.
My name is Taiwo.
My name is Kehinde.
Pẹ̀lá lágbà talẹ̀ sọ pé ẹ wá wá èjì rẹ̀ o tìmùdí àtàdélé bọ̀ talẹ̀ sọ pé ẹ wá wá èjì rẹ̀ o.
Wow, guys, isn't that incredible? But wait a minute, what is the secret behind multiple births of twins in Igbo Ora? Oh, ẹ káàárọ̀ ma. So ẹ̀yin náà bí bèjì. Ẹ̀yin náà bí bèjì. You can't believe it. The two women that I just greeted now, both of them have twins and their children also gave birth to twins. So, nǹkan tó ń pè ní ìlàsà nìyí. Yeah. Only ká jẹ ìlàsà ká bí bèjì. So does that mean that anybody that eats this ìlàsà must give birth to twins?
Yes.
Wow, guys, unbelievable. If you eat this ìlàsà, you must give birth to twins. You know, ìgbà tí ẹ wà nínú oyún yẹn náà jẹ ìlàsà, ọkẹ tó lóyún.
Adjata Salomé and her husband just welcomed their third child, who was a twin. While the couple does not believe that eating ilasa is the reason for the twin, they still enjoy cooking it as one of their favorite soups.
Àwọn èròjà wo ni wọ́n máa fi ń ṣe ìlàsà?
Okay. Irú.
Okay.
A máa fi ẹ̀gúsí pẹ̀lú ata wẹ́wẹ́. Gbómi yẹn kaná. Tómi bá ti hó, a máa rẹ́ ìlàsà. After that, a máa dà á sí. Tó bá ti di pò ti rọ̀ dáadáa, a máa já. Tá bá ti já bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn, a máa tó bá ti rọ̀ tá ti já tó ti wà òkè dáadáa, a máa mú irú yẹn, a máa fi sínú ẹ̀gúsí, a máa rún dáadáa, a máa fi sínú ìlàsà. So after 5 minutes or 3 minutes, ó ti máa wà òkè.
I'm wondering if this ilasa soup is truly the secret behind the twins' birth in Igbo Ora. But I think to set the record straight, scientifically, we need to speak with a doctor. What is the biological theory behind twins' birth in Igbo Ora?
Though, as of now, the gene that is responsible might not have been isolated, but it's found that genetically there is a genetic reason why the twin rate in Igbo Ora is very high. Some researchers have also attributed to diet, but not just diet. What we find out that most of our diet, maybe cassava, okra, and some of them may contain high folic acid and the rest, and some substance that causes zygote to break into two and eventually develop into multiple pregnancy.
The people of Igbo Ora celebrate their twins every year, and it is clear that no other place in the world has many twins as Igbo Ora. Today is a special day. Hundreds of twins have come together to celebrate the World Twins Festival here in Igbo Ora. If Even the Deputy Governor of Oyo State is here to celebrate with the twins.
Every year we come around to come and celebrate that uniqueness here in Igbora, to felicitate each other. Twins will have a kind of networking with each other, and it's a very good thing for your state as a tourist attraction.
All of us are twins, and we are very excited to be here today.
What an amazing experience. Keep watching DW, the 77%.
As we look ahead, the challenge is no longer about asking whether women can do it. We've proven that time and again. The real question is, will societies create the space for women to lead, innovate, and thrive on their own terms? Because when women rise, entire nations rise with them. Let's continue the conversation on our social media pages, as always. I am Fateli Kamuloshi. Thank you for joining me. And remember, the future is only as inclusive as we choose to make it. See you another time.